What if entire nations, cities, and human stories were erased not by war or flame, but by the quiet, unstoppable rise of the sea? Beneath today's oceans rest real towns with roads still etched into stone, powerful ports that once controlled trade, and vast landscapes where people lived long before history had names for them. Some vanished slowly, over thousands of years. Others disappeared in a single, terrifying instant. A few exist in the uneasy space between evidence and legend. Because the deeper these lost worlds are explored, the clearer one truth becomes: human history may be far more incomplete than we ever imagined. And the ocean may not be finished with us yet. Beneath the waves that surround the modern world lie real communities, trade routes, and entire environments where ordinary lives once unfolded. People cooked their meals. They raised families. They watched the horizon for ships or storms. And then the water arrived. How much of our shared story is missing simply because it now lies beneath the sea? To understand how quietly this can happen, the story begins not with a city, but with a country. Thousands of years ago, Britain was not an island. It was connected to mainland Europe by a vast stretch of land now known as Doggerland. This was not an empty wilderness. People hunted here, gathered food, built shelters, and followed the seasons. Rivers crossed the land. Animals roamed freely. It was home. But as the last ice age ended, the climate warmed, ice sheets melted, and sea levels began to rise. Slowly at first, then faster, shorelines crept inward. The land fractured into islands. Generation after generation watched familiar ground disappear beneath the waves. Can you imagine witnessing the land your ancestors walked slowly vanish before your eyes? Doggerland did not fall in a single catastrophe. It faded. The sea claimed it piece by piece over centuries. By the time the water finally covered it completely, no one remained to remember it as a homeland. Today, its traces lie beneath the North Sea, mapped only by sonar sediment cores and tools hauled up accidentally in fishing nets. If an entire landmass can disappear this way, how many smaller settlements were lost without ever being named? Some drowned places did not fade quietly. Some remain preserved beneath the water, suspended in time. Off the southern coast of Greece lies Pavlopetri, one of the most complete submerged towns ever discovered. Streets are still visible, courtyards, building foundations. The town's layout can be followed beneath the surface. People lived here in organized neighborhoods thousands of years ago, close to the sea that sustained them. Over time, rising waters and seismic shifts pushed the town below the surface. It was not abandoned because it failed. It was abandoned because the world itself changed. If an entire town plan can survive underwater, what else might still be waiting just beyond sight? Not far away in Italy, the sea holds a very different kind of city. Baiae was once a luxury retreat for the Roman elite. Emperors, senators, and wealthy citizens built villas filled with mosaics, statues, and gardens. This was a place of indulgence and influence. But Baiae did not sink because the sea rose. It sank because the land beneath it moved. The region rests on unstable volcanic ground. Over time, the earth slowly lowered, and sections of the city slipped beneath the water. Today, divers glide over stone floors and past statues still resting where they fell. How strange that a place built for pleasure now survives only in silence. Baiae reveals something unsettling. A city does not need to be abandoned to be lost. People continued living there as parts of it disappeared. The change was gradual, almost invisible. But not all sunken cities faded away. Some were taken in a single moment. In 1692, Port Royal in Jamaica was among the richest cities in the Caribbean. A major trading hub, it bustled with merchants, sailors, and wealth. Then, within minutes, an earthquake struck. The ground liquefied, streets split open, buildings collapsed. Entire sections of the city slid into the sea. People vanished where they stood. When the shaking stopped, much of Port Royal lay underwater, sealed beneath layers of sand. The speed of the disaster preserved daily life in place. Cups, tools, homes, frozen in time. How many modern cities sit on land just as fragile, waiting for the same sudden collapse? The ocean does not only erase cities through violence. Sometimes it erases power itself. Near the coast of Egypt, beneath the Mediterranean, lies Thonis-Heracleion. Once a major harbor city, it controlled trade flowing into and out of Egypt. Ships passed through its ports. Temples rose from its streets. It was a gateway to one of history's greatest civilizations. Over centuries, earthquakes and shifting sediments weakened the ground beneath it. Slowly, the city sank. By the time it disappeared completely, it had slipped into legend. For generations, people questioned whether it had ever existed at all. How many powerful places were erased so thoroughly that even their memory faded? When modern explorers finally located Thonis-Heracleion, they found colossal statues, temples, and harbor structures resting on the seabed. Proof that history does not always vanish, sometimes it waits. But not every underwater site offers clear answers. Off the coast of India lies Dwarka, a site deeply tied to ancient texts and long-held traditions. Underwater exploration has revealed stone anchors and submerged features offshore, suggesting ancient maritime activity. What this evidence represents remains debated. Some view it as support for legendary accounts. Others urge caution, noting that isolated findings do not tell a complete story. Dwarka exists between belief and proof. How much evidence is enough before myth begins to become history? Even further into uncertainty lies Yonaguni, near Japan. Beneath the waves is a massive rock formation with sharp edges, terraces, and flat surfaces. To some, it appears unmistakably artificial, like a lost monument or city. To others, it is the result of natural geology, shaped by fractures and erosion. No tools have been found, no inscriptions, only stone. And yet, the shapes challenge easy explanations. When does nature begin to resemble intention? And when does the human mind begin filling the gaps? What connects all these places is not mystery alone, but geography. Humans have always built near water. Rivers and coastlines offered food, trade, and connection. They also carried risk. After the Ice Age, sea levels rose dramatically. Coastlines retreated. Land stable for thousands of years disappeared. Earthquakes erased cities in moments. Volcanic regions shifted without warning. The sea became both provider and eraser. If so much early human life unfolded along coasts, how much of our story now lies underwater? This leads to a troubling realization: most archaeology happens on land. What we know of history depends on what remained above the waves. Yet for tens of thousands of years, humans lived along shorelines that no longer exist. Their camps, villages, and towns vanished long before writing began. Entire chapters of human development may be missing. Not destroyed. Simply unreachable. How different would our understanding of civilization be if those drowned landscapes were fully explored? Technology is beginning to change that. Sonar mapping, underwater drones, and advanced diving techniques reveal more each year. But the ocean is vast, dark, relentless. For every site discovered, countless others remain hidden. If this made the ocean feel different, take a moment to like the video. It helps these stories reach further. Subscribe for more deep explorations into the hidden history beneath our world.